Hey guys, it's me Jem, and today is Monday, May 11th, and it is day 58 of quarantine. And what better way to spend your quarantine hours than by listening to music? Now, we all have our favorite genre, our favorite artists, and mine happens to be rock. So, in this video, I'm going to share with you my top 6 rock albums of all time. These are albums that will never leave my playlist, and they have been influential to me in my life and my love for music. So in this video, I won't be able to use any sound clips due to copyright issues. So I'll just do my best to describe the feel of each album. Every song in each of these albums are excellent. You won't be track skipping any of them. So first up is Tragic Kingdom by No Doubt, released in October of 1995. My first encounter with this album was elementary school in 6th grade. So the first thing you'll notice about the album cover for Tragic Kingdom is Gwen Stefani holding a rotten orange and there are flies on it. I think the rotting oranges represent a relationship that used to be sweet and now it's gone bad and it's rotting. And it's kind of the whole theme of the album. It's about relationships, about breakups, thus the name Tragic Kingdom. So, opening track of Tragic Kingdom is Spiderwebs. So it opens with a drum roll and then goes into a horn section and then Tom Dumont's awesome guitar riff. Tom Dumont was one of my early influences when I was learning guitar. His riffs, along with Tony Kanal's groovy bass lines, are what makes Tragic Kingdom so awesome. Their biggest hit was Don't Speak, and the song is just so sad that it resonates even today if you listen to it. If I had to pick my 3 most favorite songs on the album, it would be Spiderwebs, Excuse Me Mister, and Sunday Morning. So why do I like this album? It's the genius songwriting, the awesome bass and guitar riffs, and I guess the whole bitter relationship message of some of the songs. So my next favorite album is Jagged Little Pill by Alanis Morissette. I think that most would agree that this is one of the greatest albums ever written. To me, Alanis Morissette is one of a kind. She's a very talented singer and songwriter. It's one of the best-selling albums of all time and it won 7 Grammys. And I agree, I think people 50 years from now will still be listening to it. It's one of those classic pop rock albums that will never get old. It was released in June of 1995 and my first encounter with this album was in 6th grade in elementary school. So opening track of Jagged Little Pill is All I Really Want, and it's one of my favorite songs on the album. It opens with a single guitar strum, then followed by a harmonica, then some wah effects, and then it goes into that awesome guitar riff and drum beat. So how did this album influence my life? I think like most people, it's because of the songs and the lyrics. It's mostly about life, how shitty and unpredictable it is. We go through bad times and we just get back up and keep on living. And I think that's why this album is so successful. It feels kind of therapeutic when you listen to it. So if I had to pick 3 of my favorite songs off the album, it would be All I Really Want, You Learn, and Ironic. So why do I like this album? the musical arrangement, the lyrics, the guitar riffs. By the way, 2 Chili Peppers and 1 Foo Fighter worked with Alanis Morissette. Flea played bass, Dave Navarro played guitar, and Taylor Hawkins played drums for Alanis Morissette. So the next album is From Under the Cork Tree by Fall Out Boy. It was released in May of 2005. So my first encounter with this album was in college around 2005-2006. The songs in this album have really long titles, usually taken from famous movie quotes. So a few words that can describe this album: sex, revenge, bad relationships, and depression. This is one of my favorite albums to listen to while editing. The guitar work and the songwriting is excellent. So the opening track to this album is titled Our Lawyer Made Us Change the Name So We Wouldn't Get Sued. I know, right? It's a mouthful for a song title. So how did this album influence me? Most of the songs in this album are about depression and about toxic relationships. It's one of those albums you listen to on a bad day. The lyrics will hit you straight through the heart. Lyrics like, douse yourself in cheap perfume, so fitting of the way you are. Strike us like matches, because everyone deserves the flames. This is why I love listening to From Under the Cork Tree, because of the complex lyrics written by Patrick Stump and Pete Wentz. It's hard to pick just a few songs from the album because all of them are great. But if I had to pick just 3 songs off the album, my favorites would be, besides Sugar We're Going Down, one is Sophomore Slump or Comeback of the Year. I slept with someone from Fall Out Boy and got the stupid song written about me. And Little Less 16 Candles, a little more touch me. But all of the songs from beginning to end are well written. So what do I like about this album? The songwriting in this album hits me really hard. I can really relate on most of the lyrics of the songs. And it's the kind of album that I would listen to when I'm having a bad day. So the next album on the list is Insomnia by Green Day. It was released in October of 1995, the same year and month as No Doubt's Tragic Kingdom. So my first encounter with this album was in high school in 1997, though I was already listening to Green Day's Dookie during 1994 and 1995. So the opening track to Green Day's Insomnia is a song called Armitage Shanks. It opens with a Trey Cool drum intro. So how did this album influence me? Billy Joe Armstrong is one of my big influences in music and one of the reasons I started learning to play the guitar. So if I had to pick 4 songs off this album, it would be Stuck With Me, Armitage Shanks, Geek Stink Breath, and Walking Contradiction. And it's my favorite Green Day album of all their albums. So why do I like this album? For me, it's the most punk album that Green Day has ever written out of all their albums, with the heaviest sounding guitars of any Green Day album and some pretty rebellious lyrics. So the next album on the list is No Pads, No Helmets, Just Balls by Simple Plan. So my first encounter with this album was during my first course in college around 2002 and 2003. So I'm sure you guys have seen that TikTok where you recreate that picture from your younger years, and the song on that TikTok is I'm Just a Kid which is from this album, No Pads, No Helmets, Just Balls. So if you guys like that song, I'm Just a Kid, go check out the whole album. So the first track on this album is I'd Do Anything. This album was a big influence to me lyrically because most of the songs deal with teenage problems and relationships. Favorite songs on the album, all the songs are great. It's hard to pick just a few songs, but if I were to pick 4 songs off the album, it would be When I'm With You, Addicted, Meet You There, and I'm Just a Kid. So my last pick for favorite rock album is Diorama by Silverchair. It was released in March of 2002, the same year and month as Simple Plan's album. So my first encounter with this album was when I saw the music video for The Greatest View on MTV, and I love the song, so that's why I decided to check out the whole album. So how was I influenced by this album? I've listened to all the Silverchair albums. They're very underrated, but very talented. Daniel John scored his first hit album at the age of only 15. Silverchair is a great Australian band, just like AC/DC, and Diorama is the peak of their musical success. Because this is an album that is excellent from beginning to end. Once again, it's really hard to pick only a few songs, a few best songs. But if I had to pick, I would go with The Greatest View, Without You, Tuna in the Brine, and Across the Night. Special mention to The Lever, which is one of the heavier songs on the album. So why do I like this album? Well, first of all, I like Diorama as sleeping music. Whenever I listen to it while I'm sleeping, I seem to have very good, very nice dreams. Plus the fact that you mix Silverchair with an orchestra and great lyrics and Daniel John's voice, it all mixed together to make one beautiful musical experience. So those are my top 6 favorite rock albums. Maybe we have the same favorites. I have more favorite musical albums, but maybe I'll just put them in another video. So that's it for this video, guys. Till the next video, bye bye.